last summer, and you call it a police levy, and we got it in hand over heads in our hand.
Well, whatever is,
And it's not your fault.
whatever goes out there has to have the full support of council as opposed to what happened last week. So, nobody likes paying taxes, and it doesn't take much negativity to get people to figure out that, hey, I won't vote for it because of this,
Audit.
so.
And along with the topic, Chief Bowery had, I think that's you too. I know we've talked in the past. I have a concern with your department, with salaries and with the number of people you have. And again, I don't know if there's anything in personnel included in here to pay a wage that allows you to keep people or get people with the credentials that you need. What do you need?
Again, the wish list would be additional full-time funding to train them. We don't have funding available to train them to the level it should be. We don't have the funding to bring in people that already have those certifications. Our top part-timer is under what the area people started with employees.
We have made provisions in the forecast to adjust salaries, hourly rates to make sure that we keep. We've got a great staff.
We do.
In all the departments. So, and we realize that. We realize that some of them are making less than what they should be.
Chief, pose a question. Do you know by chance what it costs to train an officer? Or if one of them did leave, is there an added expense to that would add a full-time officer would relieve that? Or is it like a kind of wash or not? Does that make sense?
Well, a full-time officer and a part-time officer, they get the same initial training. They have to be Ohio certified by the state of Ohio. So that cost, and when we hire part-time officers now, I won't hire a part-timer that's not Ohio certified to save the city the expense of summer training. So then you have the ongoing training during the year, which firearms, taser recertification, and so forth. So to put a cost on that, I'd have to sit down and figure it out. But the initial training for a part-time and a full-time officer to get them trained is pretty much the same.
Okay.
Yeah, 40 hours FTO training, and we try to get on some of our part-timers. We try to get them involved in the reserve program, Reserve 2, and so that'll cut down on some of that training. Where we have one guy, I just saw him that we're considering hiring as part-time. He's in writing with one of the officers. He's a reserve officer, so he's picking up, but there's always a portion. It used to be 40 hours. If you just took a guy that had OPATA certified and you start training him, he used to take at least 40 hours.
At least, probably more like at least 3 weeks worth.
Yeah, I mean just like general, not necessarily OPAS certification, general training on what it's like to be this department as opposed to a different department, or where the streets are. I guess my point is once you train an officer, all that, general wide stuff, he leaves his void, then you have another person train it. Again, that means added expenses, someone training somebody else. Correct. This stuff, and I guess is there a breaking point where it would be just more sensible to hire a full-time officer who would actually be cheaper than keep training somebody just to lay over land, or just how our department works as opposed to different departments, I guess.
I think in the long run, it would be cheaper in the long run to have a full-timer, because then you have the stability of having a full-time employee as opposed to the
Exactly, yeah.
turnover rate of having to hire And then if you get a part-time officer who is hired and he has another job somewhere else, that 3 weeks of training here might extend to 6 weeks because he can only be here 20 hours a week as opposed to 40 hours a week.
And hiring, or training 3 officers at part-time, so one per officer full-time.
Correct.
You know, constantly training, I would imagine it costs constantly.
Exactly. While we were talking, I jumped on the internet on my phone and I looked up what the FBI's recommended staffing for police agencies. It's roughly 2.4 officers per 1,000. So you figure Munroe Falls is 5,000, that equates to about 11 officers, full-time officers. We have 6.
And I mean, I've stressed this point forever. In 2005, when I left, if you include the chief, we had 8. I mean, that was in 2005. And I'm glad, because the problem with part-time, and I'm assuming it still exists today, Tom, is you do have that FTO time, and it's 3 or 4 to 1, depending on who the part-time officers and their availability goes on full-time officers. You have that constant turnover. And as you mentioned, scheduling, things like that. Guy's got a full-time job, works part-time for me. It's kind of hard for me to say to him, no, you can't have that week on vacation, and that's his full-time job, gave him vacation. He's gonna go. And, you know, and it's great that we're saving a few bucks on the reserves, you know, getting some FTO out of the way, but that affects who you contract. Because, you know, if I'm a decent officer, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna come in and be a reserve and let you not pay me while I'm trying. I mean, it's gonna affect it. I mean, people from the outside coming in, they're gonna say, wait a minute, you don't wanna pay me to train me to require training? I mean, come on, get real.
Right.
So I think there are costs there that you could figure, but.
I have to say that I think the quality of the officers we have today exceed what we had in 2005 and afterwards. I think the ones that we lost, and I know you're going to disagree with me, Steve, but I think we lost some people that glad we lost.
Well, and, you know, there's a couple individuals I would agree with
At
that.
the same time, I also think too that having 2 full-time officers per shift is a good idea. It really is.
If you can afford it.
Yeah, if that gets us back up there. But again, that's what we're going to tell these people.
Takes 5.2, unless it's changed, 5.2 officers to cover one 24 hour shift, a shift per week.
That's,
I mean, was the formula, I think.
well,
That sounds about right, yeah.
that's what the sheriff's office used when they quoted Green Township
Right.
on theirs, and the sheriff's office was quoting $57.95 an hour for that.
That's this year.
Sorry?
That's this year.
Yeah, it's this year. Look, I'd like to say, too, that in all fairness, that Mr. Mayor, I know I've been critical of some things here, but the city in the last 12 years is far better off than it was prior to that. And it was done with a lot of hard work and a lot of cutting and a lot of gut-wrenching decisions, I know. My concern today is that we made all those cuts, and they were wise cuts. Now we're in a position where we have to do some things. We have to let the people know that to move the city forward and be progressive with it, that we're going to have to come back to them for money. They're paying $68 a year, or $6.7 mils. In Munroe Falls, they're paying
$88.
yeah, $88 a year. It's the only taxes outside of income tax they pay is that. And as the sheet shows, in Akron, it's 80.16 mils. We're at the very bottom. I mean, ahead of us are Akron, Peninsula, Coventry, New Franklin, Poplar, Hudson, Bath, Cuyahoga Falls, Town, Stowe, and Munroe Falls. I mean, it's a hell of a deal living here, and I think we need to capitalize that, on that. And I think the constituents need to know what value they're getting, and that to move forward, we need to do some things. To have the police department we need to do it. To keep people in the service department who can work throughout the year, we need to do it. In the administration, I mean, again, I'll go back to this, we need a full-time chief executive for this city. It's too big of a job to not do full-time. I just believe that very strongly. And with that, I'll shut up.
So are you proposing more than 511?
Well, that's what it takes. I mean, we're going to have to look at the numbers, but that's what it takes, yes. Well, let's put it this way. I want to talk to these people. In fact, you have 2 candidates out here that are running for office this fall, or say they're running for office this fall. I mean, Mr. President, I don't know, you might want to ask.
We'll get to that in time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But if that's what it takes for us to get a levy passed, this is the full load. This is what it's going to take to do everything we feel that needs to be done for you. I think we need to do it. It's 6 mils, it's 6 mils. It's 5, it's 5.
I think you 6 mil, you take a look at it, the 6 mil is going to generate $640,000 a year. You know, 7 mil is going to probably generate 750.
You know, frankly, I wouldn't care if it's 10 mils, if it's giving the citizens what they want.
That's what we gotta figure
You
out.
gotta ask the citizens what
I
they
think
want.
that's high side 20 points. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. I guess my only concern is there's gonna be breaking point for much money in the past. You know that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And two is, I guess, if we go on this formula we have here, I mean, at least we can show the residents that, hey, you know, this is what we have, this is what we're gonna do with this, and we're doing it. Exactly, we have road repair, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, police needs, we want more than ask for more, I guess, to show them, hey, in good faith, we did what we did with your money, but we still need more. This additional levy, maybe, I don't know. I mean,
I'd rather not go for an additional levy, but I'd rather look at it and say, these are the requests that we
Yeah,
have.
that's true too, yes.
And this is what it's going to take to fulfill these requests.
Having had experience with successful experience with 2 levies, I can tell you that the voters have to clearly understand what it is they're getting for their money, and they have to want it. And our job is to make sure they understand what that is. You can't make them understand something. They have to want it. I mean, it's unfortunate we have 10 people here in the audience. Tonight, well, hopefully maybe at other meetings we'll have more. But that's the job we have to sell. When we decide on what it is that we think the city needs, that's our job, I think.
Absolutely, and I think the other part of that is not only, I have a lot of folks in the ward who are on fixed income. And 5 is going to be tough. Now, again, we got somewhere around 4 back with the bond retirement last year. But I think that we got to, we can't just sit there and say, well, here's the wish list, and everything on the wish list is fair game. We already know just from the stormwater alone to do something, just the engineering alone on some of these streets and all, it would blow the water. So I think we just have to be very careful about, this is not an open pocketbook.
Oh, I understand. You're asking them, you're sticking your hand in their pocket.
Absolutely.
And you're going to ask permission to do that. And when we do that, we're going to explain to them, this is what we need and this is why we need it. And when I said, I don't care if it's 10 mils, I wouldn't want to pay 10 mils here. I don't think we need that. But the point is there are services that we do need that maybe they're not seeing. Again, the full-time police department, our full-time officers on each should in the police department, additional fire person, and then additional people in the service.
I think it's good for everyone here to be completely honest and not have, this is what we're going to do, and you want it, great, not. Zero.
And Mr. Allen, I think, and again, since we did put a 2-hour time limit, I think, Mr. Carson, we should allow time for anybody here.
We will.
Because we asked for them to come, so we're running.
40 minutes, I got a couple things to say, and we'll share with it.
Well, I certainly wouldn't cut the audience.
No, there was one other time. The last comment that I heard about the Munroe Falls Police Department 2 weeks ago, I talked to a resident at an event I was at, said, what do you think, any problems? And the comment that they said to me, and I'm wondering how much this resonates, they said, you have too many police in Munroe Falls. That was the comment they gave. I had explained to a lot of police that they see are reserves. A lot of times when we pull somebody over on 91, it's a single officer in a car, we have to do a backup. They drive by, see the 2 newer SUVs with all the lights on. They're thinking we got a department of 40, 50 people. And that's what I'm wondering, the levy barely failed by, 9 votes. There's some people that just have that misconception that the police department, in my background, says you got to have a strong police and fire department. I'm all about somehow working in to get a couple more full-time officers because the world's a changing place right now with police and violence, and having where you hire these part-time guys, they're here for 6 months, like Steve brought up, and we all know, and then another department up the road, Boston Heights or whoever says, I'll take you, I'll take the canine, I'll do this, whatever, and you lose them, and we gotta go back, and we don't have that police academy running right now. I just think liability-wise, not having full-time officers puts the city and the residents at a big risk, so I'm all about somehow finding money to get a couple more full-time guys to oversee the operation 24/7. Also, going back to Jim Bowery on the catch basins we were talking about, the ditches over on Lindsay and Vermont. Just a drive-by, I counted, I think it was 16 on one street and 17 on the other where they filled it in. That's what we're talking about. So about 33 residents that we need to convince. If we originally were talking about, ditching those out. I know Mr. Barnes was talking about the curbing and stuff. I didn't know about that as far as, I know that's going to take a ton of money, but I think if we just started with ditching those out to see if we could alleviate some of the water rushing down, the other end, that might be. On that note, anybody else have anything to say? I'm going to open up to our audience. Anybody would like to say something, just step up to the microphone and state your name and address, and you're welcome to give us any of your thoughts.
Your input,
Any questions?
and questions. First come, first served.
Don't be shy.
Shocking.
Shocking, huh?
Hey, Chris Ritzer here, 329 Crescent Drive. Yeah, we know it's all about the money. I asked you guys less than 6 months ago when the money was brought up, if 4 mils was enough. And Bailey said right there, he said, oh yeah, that's good, yeah, 5 years in the forecast. We agree with you. Well, less than 6 months later, then we're at 5 mils. Wasn't that far off, and I thought maybe we need to go to 6 or 8. Here we are 6 months later, we do need more money. We already know that, we might need more. So we do need to look and see if we do need more. I think we're better off asking that first time for more, and then backing it down if they don't want to approve that. And that's the thought. We've talked about, do we put it on the ballot in November? Do we wait until next May? Personally, I sit back here and I think that there's political reasons not to put it on the ballot in November. It's my opinions. There's a lot of politics that goes on in Munroe Falls. Shouldn't be. It's the world we live in. It's going to be. And yes, I do plan on running for office. I don't know if I'm what you're talking about, Mike, but I don't want the politics to come on. We're not a partisan city. I want to get rid of the politics and do what's right for the people. The flooding issues that I see, Mike see them, we're on the same Facebook pages and reading. I choose not to comment because I don't want to get yelled at. I just read.
I'm not on any of those, I'm just on the same reasons.
I sit back and read every now and then. But I'm familiar with the Ward 2 area. It's where I grew up at. Jim and Steve can confirm this. Those people on Highway can talk about their houses flooding. Not to be mean to them, but I chuckle when I hear that. And today I heard the comment was, that's the developer's problems with the drainage. Well, there were sins that were made in the past, and I think what the public wants is to know that the city wants to help them out. Maybe financially we can't do that, but let's contact the county, let's contact the state, let's contact EPA on the citizens' behalves, because there were sins that were committed years ago. Jim can tell you growing up here, I can tell you growing up here, Steve can tell you being a chief here and growing up here. We used to flood Highwood so we could ice skate. If you were brave or stupid enough, you skated through the drainage pipes. And Steve and his guys would come out and get you for doing that. But we did that as kids. Oakhurst didn't exist when I was a kid growing up in Munroe Falls. That was woods. We built that as a city. That's drainage issues. We caused all that as the people of Munroe Falls. So whether it's us sitting here in this room, it was the cities that did that. And we didn't hold the developers accountable. We didn't think this far into the future. I think the citizens just want to know that we care and, well, maybe it was a mistake. Let's take a few steps backwards so that we can go forward. So 5 mils may not be enough. Maybe we need to go higher than that. Maybe 5 is enough. The biggest issue that I'm seeing on the social media, and that's where we live in, unfortunately. I mean, I'm a 50-year-old guy now, and I hate it, but it's where we're at, and so I try to pay attention to it as much as I can. The people that I'm seeing on there already, they're saying, I'm voting against the levy. They can't fix my flooding, I'm voting it. We all know we can't fix the flooding, but to at least attempt to help those people, that we're going to go to the county, we're going to go to the state, we're going to go to whoever, as a city, do a study. Let's find out what's wrong with it. Show them that we care. Yeah, there was stuff, your mailboxes. 2 mailboxes this year. An extremely busy year, I think Jim said, that we knocked over. Too bad. Our law director sat right there and said, that private property, you can't do anything about it. Too bad. Those 2 damn mailboxes. It cost us $100. Fix the mailboxes for these people. It was a busy year. It was 2 mailboxes. I get it. Set precedents and that kind of, I get it. But we're Munroe Falls. We're 5,000 people. And we don't want to be Stowe. We don't want to be Cuyahoga Falls. But unfortunately, we're heading that way. We can't afford to be Munroe Falls. So we need to take care of ourselves if we want to stay who we are. I don't want to be Stowe. I don't want to be Cuyahoga Falls. I want to be Munroe Falls. Just my thoughts.
Kind of brought up a good point in a sense. The levy, in regard to takes 5 or 6 mils for a while. Can we step that down to possible, like the first 4 years, a 6 mil levy, step it down to after a 5-year levy and a 4-year kind of go along?
I don't know, that's a legal question, but understand this, that if it will always, unless we do inside millage, it will always be, I won't say always, if the property values goes up, it will always raise the same amount of money, so each individual homeowner's share goes down. For example, the safety building levy, when it was first passed to pay for that, it was 4 mils. But at the end, when it expired, I think we were paying 1.8 mils or something, because the valuation of the city had increased so much. So that's, if you step the mill, I don't know if you can step those down, but if you can, you'd be losing twice.
Yeah.
And there is, it's my understanding, there's a limitation on the inside millage, is total 10, and there is no inside millage available in some county. Because they don't just take the city's millage, they take all the, and if you look at that last sheet, you've got county things, you got 2, 4, you got 6 Summit County levies, you've got the 6 school board, library, and parks. So, amongst all those people, there is no inside knowledge. That's why 10 years gives you enough time for budgetary and also planning and that. And then you can decide, whether you need to up it. 5 years is too short of a period. And that's why you find school boards having all these renewals.
Yeah.
Is because once you renew it, then it takes the current, whatever it will generate at that time. So if you do 10 years, 2025, you can do a renewal, and maybe housing has gone up in cost, and instead of 5 mils, it's only generating 3 to produce that amount of money. It would go back to 5 mils, and so you get the price increase that way. That's why they keep renewing.
Now, do we know what the decrease in state funding we're getting? Is that squared away? What left we get from the state yet?
State budget hasn't passed.
Yeah, we know, he can feed us some things in my mind, so.
No, we know that they are standardize the city income tax. I think that they have backed off from they originally started, they were going to collect it for us and redistribute it. I think they have backed off on that a little bit. Now they're talking more standardizing, but let's be honest, anytime the state's going to do us a favor or do something for us, it's going to cost us. You know, so how much, I don't know, you know,
And
hopefully very little, but
for the benefit of the folks in the audience, and I apologize because I do not have it with me, but Ms. Burns, you had did that analysis for us on the changes in the local government fund over a few years. I'm going from memory. Then we lose on, between that and the inheritance tax, then we lose about 200 or 280,000 in revenue
well,
on an annual basis because of the changes in the state budget. The sales tax, local government reimbursement, they call it local government fund. They cut it in half, and they cut it by 25% or half again. That reduced money. That's how the state balanced the budget. They send the money back to the communities and the schools. So actual state spending on state programs themselves has gone up. And then the other thing, the elimination of the inheritance tax costs us about $60,000 a year on average, I believe. So, I mean, residents just need to understand that that's changes in the state law, and that's why we're all very distrustful when they say they want to collect our income tax for us. Because, you know, they're going to do us a favor, all right, just like, you know, they've done us a lot of favors. But I just want to make sure audience members understand some of those funding revenue losses that we've incurred. We had no control over. That was the governor and the legislature influence.
Yeah, the legislature didn't do anything in the case of proposal to increase the cat tax
No.
or the oil and gas severance tax. He wanted to increase it, and they said no.
I find myself in the unfortunate, or unusual, I won't say unfortunate, unusual position of thinking, why don't you agree with Casey, Judge? That's not too often I would say that.
Yeah, same thing before, by the way, the tobacco tax was another.
Yeah.
And he wanted $1 back, and they gave him 35 cents. I mean, come on.
Anybody else from the public? I mean, because I don't want to.
I'd just like to applaud all of you for, I'm Jenny Markovich with 135 Spray Drive. And I'd like to applaud all of you for putting this workshop together. I am disappointed in the participation because it has been in the paper, it has been promoted via Facebook, etc. And I know that over 400 households received this information out there. So it's one thing I just wanted to point out, that it wasn't kept a secret. It was out there. Everybody knows that this is happening this evening. I do agree that this is an excellent start where we need to start and do our due diligence. What I'm hearing here this evening is that we still need another meeting or two to figure out what it is we really want to go to the public with for the levy itself. We can go for operating expenses, but what I'm hearing here is that there's wish lists out there that we need to look at, and when it has to do with wages and also the hiring of additional officers, etc. So I thank you very much for the opportunity to come here and learn more about what's happening within our city. And I look forward to learning some more and hearing more about it. So thank you.
I have a question that, I was just looking, what it would cost me for a 5 mil, would be $260 a year, or $21.69 a month. a 10 mil would cost me double that.